Hi, I'm Betty Banjack, and this is Look Who's Cooking. Today we're going to do something really special. Instead of making the food that we all like and enjoy, we're going to make dog biscuits for your dogs. I think it's sort of cute and nice. Everyone sort of underestimates the dog, and it could be your Valentine's Day person if you don't have a real person. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make the dog biscuits, and they're really quick and they're easy, and they're actually the same as making regular cookies, right? A lot of things except the ingredients. You have to remember something I cannot emphasize enough. Dogs cannot eat chocolate. When they eat chocolate, I mean, it's terrible. It makes them sick. It can kill them. So, you may think you're doing your dog a real favor when you sneak him a piece of chocolate, but it's not going to work. You'd rather sneak him a cookie, a cracker, or something else, but not that wonderful piece of chocolate candy he would love to have for his benefit. I say his. In my world, all cats are female and all dogs are male. That's how I look at them. I'm not quite sure. And of course, cats don't like food that dogs like, so it's a whole different thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bowl here and mix all the dry ingredients. I usually mix it right in the food processor, but the reason behind it is it makes too much noise. So let me get all the dry ones in before we start mixing. I have 2.5 cups of wheat flour. You can mix half and half wheat and white if you want, but I have wheat flour in here. Most dogs like garlic, and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder I use. If you really want to be good and make some or get fresh garlic, but it's really not necessary. The dogs don't care, just so it tastes like garlic. Excuse me. And this you can regulate. This recipe is great. You can regulate it to what your dog likes or doesn't like, or his diet. We have salt. We're going to put salt in here. But the thing is, possibly your animal's on some kind of diet and can't have salt. Well, you notice how good of a measurer I am. I just sort of measure. That's how I do things. So what do we have in here? Again, 2.5 cups of wheat flour. I have garlic powder. There's salt in here. A package of yeast. The dry yeast. It's probably the easiest because you can keep it. Let me see what the date is. It's no expiration date until 2006. Take out the piece of paper. And in here, we're just going to sprinkle the yeast. Anything else dry? Oh, I have to read this recipe because number one, I don't make this recipe too often. I only do it as a treat to dog friends because I don't have any dogs. So we put the flour in here, we put the garlic powder, the dry yeast. Oh, wheat germ. Very healthy and very tasty. Dogs seem to like this. Much better than humans for some reason. And you put about 1/4 cup in. And again, I just sort of eyeball it. And I put that in there. And let's see. And I'm going to mix that all together. You can mix it with anything you want. What this is, it's one of those spatulas that really has no serrated edges, and it's really nice for evening off cups of flour and sugar and things like that. It's because it's flat. If you get a knife, a butter knife or something, they're not all flat. Some go up and some go down, and you're cheating the amount of ingredients. So what I'm going to do now is put this in the food processor. This is my pride and joy, my 14-cup food processor. And the reason behind 14-cup food processor, over the years, I have burnt out maybe 3 food processors because they weren't large enough to handle the dough, and I used it anyway and it burned out. So I'm going to mix this all together, just pulse it a little. That's all you do there. Now we have the wet ingredients. And what I like to put them in, where is it? Oh, some kind of shaker bottle or a cup or something so I can shake it really good. And that way it mixes before it mixes. What we're going to put in first is a quarter of a cup of milk, any kind you want, any kind you have in the house. I should be using a liquid cup. This is a dry measure. It'll do in a pinch. Can't drag everything over here to the school. Then I have 1 egg. Okay, I put that in. Then, about a quarter of a cup of water, say. A little less, it doesn't, because you can always add that in again as you're mixing it. Then we have molasses. I personally love molasses in cookies and cakes and all, but this is unsulfated molasses, which I'm told means that there's no additives in it. Here they have recipes: gingerbread, barbecue sauce. So see, you use it in a wide variety of things. Now with this, if you ever have trouble opening it, you know the old trick of putting it under the hot water and letting it run and then trying to turn it. Usually it will turn. It takes about a tablespoon of, molasses. I'm not even going to measure this. Do you know why? When you measure molasses into a tablespoon and then you take it out and then there's always some left in the spoon, it's not quite right anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate not as much as you think. It's coming out fine. About a tablespoon. All I can do is not to lick the rim. One of my favorite things. And I'm going to take this makes a nice color. Let me make sure I have everything in the recipe, because I don't want, as I said, I don't make this too much, and I don't have it all. Okay, what we're going to do next is, again, pulse the flour, and I have 4 tablespoons of butter that I've cubed, and then we're going to pulse that in as it runs. Whoops, I got to put it on to make it run. I put that in first before the liquid because it makes for a nicer meal. What I need to do now is I can't tell you how long I wanted a 14-cup food processor. And it was through the help of Nick Giovannucci from Fonte's that I finally got one. I was so thrilled. Okay. Now I'm going to mix it again. I'm going to drizzle it in. This has the dough hook in it, as opposed to the blade that's very, very sharp, and it does it a little different. It's not chopping anything, it's just mixing. I'm going to try to mix this just a little to get it blended in. That almost looks like kitty kibble. Put that on here. I'm going to clean up some of this stuff while waiting for that to... Okay. It's pretty dry yet. Let me put some more milk in here. Oh, there it goes. Starting to come together. Ha! There it is. I don't know. I don't think some of the crew likes the smell. It must be garlic, the garlic. Okay, we'll let that sit there for a couple minutes. And what I want to do, I want to throw it away, no. Put away some of this stuff that we won't use for a while, or we won't use again. The molasses, the milk. These little quarts now come with handles. They're really nice. They used to just be the one you had to, if you had a hand problem or something's wrong. But there are the quarts of milk come with a handle. Wheat germ. I just realized I should have refrigerated this after I opened it. Oh, well, I hope the dogs don't realize I didn't do that. Oh, here we go. We're going to clean up because we have to roll. I collect rolling pins, sorta. I don't have a major, this is one of the little rolling pins you'd use, but I do have a rolling pin that belonged to my grandmother that was broken, and I don't even know how I got it. I think someone just threw it away one day, and I took it out of the trash, and it was fixed by a very good friend of mine, so I'm really glad to have that back. Let me, it's a little sticky. I have, well, I was going to put flour, but I'll do it this way. I'll put some flour on the little board I have here, and I'll work it that way. Or if you want to, you can always do it back in the food processor. So here we are. We're going to work for a while. I usually wind up making 2 balls. I don't know why, because it seems to fall into becoming 2 balls. Going to wrap that in, I don't have any here, but the wrap, the clear wrap, we'll wrap that in this, and here. This is nice. This came out really nice. And what I'm going to do, let me see if I can get it out. It's not, doesn't roll out a great deal, and you have to have it pretty thick. So here we are. We're going to roll it out. The flour that I have to roll this out is a mixture of the whole wheat flour that's in it and some white flour, and it seems to work much better than just one or the other. This is rolling out quite nice, if I say so myself. No one here with me, so no one can argue. And there's two ways you can cut this, or two ways to do it. Here we have the cookie sheet. I am a major apostle of parchment paper. I mean, I use it for everything, not only cooking. I just use it for arts and crafts, and I love it, and it's really great. And I've introduced it to a lot of people who wish they've used it long before they have. So we're going to have that ready. You could grease it, but it's just a big mess. You just know when you're finished, you're going to be able to go and look, it's done. It's finished. You don't have to worry about cleaning the thing. There's two ways you can cut this. You can go out and buy, there's three ways to do it. You can go out and buy your cookie cutter. How about that? It's made like a dog. Not made like a dog, made like a bone. A dog's bone. Or, there's little, here it is. Whoops. Those little glasses you have around the house? The ones you never use or you use every once in a while? Well, they're usually a nice little round size. Or you could, if you want this recipe, I can send it to you. And here's a pattern of a bone on here. And what you can do is make a pattern and sit there and cut out every cookie on every dog bone as you go. But if you don't want to really do that, there's two things. It's the cookie cutter, or you can already buy it, and you can buy these all over. Or the round cookie. Now, I really want to tell you, the dog, when he attacks these cookies, has no idea really if it's round or if it's a cookie cutter, dog cutter shape. He just wants that cookie. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we had a program where I work at the colony to salute to our animals and the dogs that come to visit, or a lot of the residents have cats and all, and we did it. And most of the dog attacked for these biscuits. They didn't care what they look like. I really mean that. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to do some each way. We're going to either make the round ones, and we're going to lay it here. And then another round one. Oh, that one came out real nice. Got a little more flour on it, but here we go with another one. If you think you have too much flour, you can just, but it doesn't matter. It's going to bake up and all. Then we have the dog biscuit cutter. I've seen these really big. My mom used to make dog biscuits for a friend of mine for a shop they had, and she had a really big dog biscuit cutter, but we don't seem to know what happened to it. So they'll just eat more. After you make these, and they're baked and all, I really advise you to put them somewhere where the dog's not going to be able to. Don't just put them up on the counter or things like that, because that dog is going to get them. They're going to jump up and get them. So either put it in a tin or put them not in the refrigerator. These aren't so good cold. Make sure when you're doing them, you cover the ends so you have the dog biscuit there. See, this one I cut, I missed the very end, so the dog biscuit. Looks like someone took a bite out of it already. Let's see, can I get any more? Yeah. These will not spread. When you're baking them, they will not spread, so you can put them quite close together. You know, some of the cookies we make, the chocolate chip and a little dab, and it's like this big when it's done. Well, that won't happen with this. Okay, that's not going to go that way. We have that. And then all of this, you can just collect again. And we're going to, you have to work it together. Wheat flour doesn't stick together as much as white flour when it's wet, so you have to really work it. This particular type of rolling pin it's all solid, one piece. Many of them have, the ends are on some type of pivot that goes around and you hold the ends in the middle. But this is sort of, I think, considered the French style. Actually, my grandmother had another rolling pin, not the one that was fixed, but that was about this long, you know, from this end here to this end, and had no handles, and she used it all by rolling her hand. So there's so many rolling pins. I also have a plastic rolling pin that you put water in or ice cubes to keep the dough cold, like for pie crusts and things like that. And I also have another rolling pin that's so big you can almost pick it up, and it's aluminum. And I'm not quite sure the exact purpose of that thing. I think that also kept things cold. You put it in the refrigerator and you brought it out and stay cold. That belonged to a friend of mine. Her son passed away, and he was a chef, and she gave me that rolling pin. So I'm not quite sure. I had maybe 5 or 6 rolling pins. Wait, I'll go home tonight and count them. I'll have 102. That happens so much with things. Here we have another. See, it's real easy. I mean, if you want to make something, stars for your dog, make a star. You want to make a heart, make a heart. This will be, and here we go. Make dough's about 1/4 of an inch thick. I'm going to see if I can get one more. I think maybe I did. Take it, the last one's the one that didn't come out right. Oh, that's okay. As I said, the dog won't really. So we put these in a 350-degree oven for approximately 20 minutes. Now you can watch it and you can see, and what they're going to have to do, they need to harden, and don't make them and give them to the dog right away. Well, you could, but you know, the dog would like that, I'm sure. But you don't need to do that. If we let it go and we put it in the oven for 20, actually I put these in close to 30 minutes. I make them nice and thick, and I make them not a little size, and they tend to come out really, really good at, you know, for 30 minutes. But watch it, don't burn them. They're not going to taste, burnt's not going to taste good to your dog. I mean, he may not care if it's what it's in there and what it looks like, but he's going to care how it tastes. So here we have this will go into the oven, again, 350, 375, depending on your oven. And I want to, okay, close that up. Let's see what else we have. Oh, here's some finished ones. Right down here, if they can get that on the camera. And I wasn't able to bring a real dog in today, you know, to see how much they really liked it. So I borrowed this dog from a friend of mine, and here it comes. He's going to have the cookies. What's great about him, he doesn't consume any, you notice, so he's going to be able to really enjoy that. Well, listen, I know this has really been different for us. We've never made, well, no, no. When the zoo came, we did the zoo kibble and the zoo salads and the zoo everything. But the thing is, we never did any animal treats. So we tried it for today, and I really try. Right for the recipe, there's a graphic on at the end. I think you'll really like it. And I know your dog will like it. And so listen, this is Betty Banjack for Look Who's Cooking, and we'll see you real soon now. Bye.